So hey everyone, welcome to Amazon AppStream. So this is a really good service if you want to stream all of your applications and allow people to access it over the web browser. Any HTML5 compliant web browser is more than enough in order to access the applications that you stream using Amazon AppStream. So the way this process works is you have to go ahead and use an image builder, which Amazon AppStream provides you with, and you have to launch a test instance using that image builder. Go ahead and install all of your necessary applications that you would like to, and then what you can do is create an image out of it and then ship it across multiple different fleets of instances, and everyone who is accessing all of these applications which are hosted over those instances, they can access it through the HTML5 browser. You can use Chrome, you can use Firefox or something like that. So first you have to build your application in terms of the image which consists of all of your applications, and then you have to use that image in order to go ahead and host all of your applications over the browser so people can access it. And at the same time, you can also choose to designate that if this user is going to access it, he can only access these set of applications. If this user is accessing, he can only access some set of applications. So that kind of granular access can also be mentioned. It also integrates with Active Directory. It also integrates with a lot of different file share services that AWS supports, like FSx and EFS. So it's an amazing service. I'll show you a demo today and you will easily understand as to what Amazon AppStream is. So let's get started. So Amazon AppStream 2.0, it's a fully managed application streaming service that provides users with instant access to their desktop applications from anywhere. So you can easily add your existing desktop applications, such as if you want to add Microsoft Office, if you want to add Blender, if you want to go ahead and install NetBeans IDE and allow them to access NetBeans or Eclipse, it can be easily done. So all you need to do is just create an image with all of those applications and then use the image builder in order to go ahead and build that image, and then finally go ahead and deploy it onto a fleet of instances. So Windows users can either use AppStream 2.0 client, or they can use any HTML5 capable web browser. You can maintain single version of each of your application, which makes it easy to manage your applications. So some of the benefits of Amazon AppStream are that you can deliver desktop applications to any computer. So users can access your desktop applications anytime that they need. It streams to any computer, including Chromebook, Macs, and PCs, because ultimately you just need a HTML5 based browser. And you can scale without infrastructure, which means that it's fully managed, and it goes with the pay as you go pricing model of AWS. So you can easily scale your application streaming to any number of users across the globe without worrying about any kind of provisioning or operating system or hardware or those kinds of things, because ultimately you are creating an image and this image is being reused across multiple different servers. So you can centrally manage your applications using AppStream 2.0, and you can stop managing installations and updates on each user's computer. That is also available. It integrates very seamlessly with Active Directory, with network and cloud storage, as well as file shares. So users access applications using their existing credentials and your existing security policies if you connect it to an Active Directory. You can also secure applications and data, because none of your applications or the data of those applications are being stored on your user's computer. It's being stored in the backend. It's probably being stored in S3 is what I would say in terms of the data. And you can also, go ahead and enable uploads to the AppStream instance into a specific directory and so on. So that's pretty cool. I'll show you the demo and you'll get more idea on this. So in terms of the fleets that AppStream uses, there are two types of fleets. You have always on instances and you have on demand instances. Always on instances are the instances that keep running at all the time. Like, so it does not even stop instant access for all of your applications. But with on demand instances, a user has to wait at least 1 or 2 minutes in order to access the instance, but ultimately they will be able to resume from from the place that they stopped. And in regards to the pricing of Amazon AppStream, it's that for always on instances, it's charged on a hourly basis. For on-demand fleet instances, again, it's charged on an hourly basis. Even for image builder instances, it's charged on an hourly basis. There is no upfront commitment. There is no long-term commitment when it comes to Amazon AppStream 2.0. Okay, so let's take a look at the console. But before that, I'll just show you a small demo. So this is a landing page of Amazon AppStream, aws.amazon.com/appstream2. You can always go ahead and log into your AWS account and take a look at AppStream, which I'll show you in a minute. But before that, I would like to show you this try sample applications at no cost. So they already have an instance with all of the sample applications installed, and you can just take a look at how seamlessly it works. So you don't need a high performance laptop nor a high performance PC. You can also have GPU intensive workloads running through Amazon AppStream. So it's just asking me to sign in. Let me just sign in. 1 second. It's a brand new PC that I built today just for Windows. And I'm pretty excited about this PC because it's very powerful. Okay, so I have logged into the AWS console. Let me save my password. So you can go ahead and click agree and continue. And this is going to take you to the US East 1 region for Amazon AppStream, the sample instance that they already have. So you can just get started by clicking on any one of these applications. So you can click on Blender, and it's going to go ahead and start a new session for us. Based on your network throughput, it's going to be fast or it's going to be slow. So let's just wait for a minute over here. In the meantime, I'll also log into the AWS console. So you can see over here, it's directly rendering it on the browser, which is pretty cool. So you can see over here, it has started Blender for us automatically. It's pretty amazing, right? You can always go ahead and take a look at all of your files. You can go ahead and upload any temporary files over here. This in the backend will be stored in S3. You can also go ahead and copy to local device or paste to remote session. You can take a look at your settings in terms of enabling microphone, streaming mode, screen resolution. You can do all of these things. Let's change the screen resolution to 2560 and 1440 and see how it works. Awesome. It's amazing. It supports 1440 pixel resolution. You can always take a look at the regional settings. You can go full screen. If you would just like to work full screen, you can do Windows right or left, I believe should work. I'm not sure why it doesn't. Okay, let's exit from full screen. Type escape. Yep. You can always go ahead and toggle your multiple monitors if you do have multiple monitors connected. I don't have right now. You can always go ahead and click on this in order to access multi-window in terms of accessing all of the different applications. You can take a look at one more application. Let's say that we open up Eclipse. If it starts fast, it means that they do have a very good instance on the backend that is hosting all of this content. So it's starting the workbench. Amazing. It has already started Eclipse. You can go ahead and make Eclipse full screen. You can always go ahead and allow text and images to be copied. It's totally your choice. I just want to blog it. So this is a great tool in order for you to go ahead and access applications through the browser. You can always go ahead and open up LibreOffice Draw. It's pretty amazing, right? But now I'll show you as to how to do this through the console. So I'm already logged into the management console of my AWS account. Let me open up AppStream 2.0. So I'll walk you through the process of doing this. Right now, I may never have enough capacity in order to launch, nor even a proper support service limit in order for me to launch big instances. But still, I'll show you as to how to do it. So you have to set up an AppStream 2.0 stack. You have to set up an AppStream 2.0 image with my own application, and then go ahead and start working with it. So I can just click on skip right now. So it's going to show you the stacks. It's going to show you the fleets. It's going to show you the images. You can always take a look at user pool. You can go ahead and create users in AppStream itself, which is again really amazing. You can go ahead and connect it to a Active Directory domain if you do already have one. You can also connect it to single sign-on. You can go ahead and download all of the usage reports. You can take a look at the quick links over here. Let's go ahead and create a stack. But before that, let me show you the images. I'm pretty sure that I don't have enough service limits in order to do this, but still I'll walk you through the process. So you can take a look at the sample image. You can take a look at the graphics image that you can use. You can always take a look at the applications that are part of this image. Right now, there are no applications over here, but you can always add applications using the image builder. So you can go to the image builder and launch it. You can choose any one of these instances, kind of images, and it works with general purpose, compute optimized and memory optimized. You can see that most of these are Windows servers. They are not Linux based machines. All of these are Windows based machines. So let's go ahead and see if we'll be able to do it. I think it should take a lot of time, but I hope you do guys get the idea. I'll have one separate lecture in terms of AppStream, in terms of doing the lab itself. But just understand that all you need to remember for an exam or on your day-to-day work basis is that you can build an image first. Once you build the image, you can go ahead and launch it onto your stack, and then go ahead and configure your fleet of instances that would be using that image in order to, I mean, in order for people to access it and start working with it. So they will give you an auto-generated endpoint once you have created a fleet. And that was the auto-generated endpoint that you saw when we were previously working with AppStream 2.0. So I hope you do get the idea as to how it works in the background. I'll have a separate lecture in terms of doing this, but for that I need to increase my service limit. It doesn't fall under the free tier is what I understand with. Okay, so thanks a lot, guys, for attending this session. I'll have more interesting lectures down the line with at least 14 to 15 more services that we'll be covering for this month. I hope you do get a lot of knowledge in terms of doing this entire course. Please do keep supporting us and always wait for the month starting when we go ahead and give our course for free on Udemy. So thanks a lot, guys, and have a great day. Stay safe and take care.